Friends who reached out from all over the world, from the United States, from Canada, from Australia, and even friends in the country. They wanted to know the when, the what, the how, and the who. And I'm talking about the primaries. And they watched more than 24 hours as the Nigerian Television Authority transmitted live the primaries. For most of the political parties, they watched with rapt attention. It's very interesting to note that Nigerians, even when they are not within the country, are very interested in the affairs of what's going on. So even though we showed it to you on live television via the NTA, and we know you all saw the fall-ins and the fall-outs, we're paying particular attention today to the fallout of the recently concluded primaries. Welcome to Weekend Deal. We will talk because we know that you know our program is interactive. Reach out to us. Tell us about your experiences, your thoughts with what is happening and what you intend to do to show that you are a patriot and you believe in the Nigeria that we are all an integral part of. My name is Thelma Obazi, and there's more with our overview, our features, all geared to impact and give clarity about the primaries that have just been concluded. Is the deal, the weekend deal indeed, and they were providing clarity, more information and accuracy about the just concluded delegates primaries. Let Francis take us through the overview.
The primaries have come and gone. Party flag bearers have emerged. While some are celebrating their victories, others are counting their losses. But what are the lessons learned from the various primaries?
If you look at all these major parties, what they've done is typical dollar rain all over the country. Buying votes, buying people's conscience, deliberately ensuring that people don't get away from where they are right now. Giving somebody $20,000, $25,000 for just a vote, I think is scandalous. Such people should be put in prison.
The major challenge that I learned of was this issue of manipulation of delegate lists. People felt, alienated. People felt shortchanged. People felt that, some people just came overnight and took control of parties. Some people even felt that at the local level, some people used the federal might.
As political parties re-strategize for the next phase of electioneering, what should Nigerians look out for in electing their leaders?
Look at the candidates, not the amount of money he's prepared to give you. Nigerians should look at capacity, capability, somebody who can take us to another level. Don't just vote simply because, that person belongs to a particular party. Look at his credentials. What has he done with his life? Who is he? Where is he coming from? Those are important things to look at.
A leader that must put food, will be ready to put food on the table of Nigerians. A leader who can improve the economy. A leader who can create jobs for thinning population of youths in Nigeria. A focused leader, a determined leader, a dogged leader, a bold and daring leader. A leader that will promote harmonious living. The three focal points, leadership, citizenship, and good governance, they are well connected. If there's a fault in one, it will affect others.
With the just concluded primaries, several lawmakers may not be returning to the National Assembly for various reasons. But what does this portend for Nigeria's democracy?
Why should you be returned if you haven't done well? If you haven't done well in the class, who's going to promote you? The issue is this. The issue whether all of them returned or none of them returned. That is what we're saying the electorate should decide. It's up to the electorate to decide who goes to the National Assembly, who goes to the State House, who becomes president of this country. Your records of achievement, your record of what you have done will speak for you. If you haven't done anything, why should people return you?
The negatives is that, yes, in some areas, some of the new entrants will now start to learn the rope. But the positive is that it will inject new blood. It might even bring fresh ideas into the system.
Some have attributed the low return to the National Assembly as a result of the quest by two-term governors to retire to the hallowed chamber of the National Assembly. But why must a governor retire to the Senate? Are former governors better senators?
They have the legal right, they have the constitutional right to yearn for it. But on moral grounds, I think this should not be encouraged. Majority want to still be politically relevant. They thought that having left office as governors, if they don't go to the Senate or whatever, they might not be given the recognition they deserve. In fact, let's call it political security.
They believe that after being governor, the next place for them to go is to go to the Senate and retire there. It's old boys club. The Senate is not an old boys club. The Senate is a place where you have to determine the direction of the executive, direction of this country. Those people there, they're just there. The same people who were in power 30 years ago, are in power 20 years ago, are in power 10, and they're still in power, and they're still aspiring to go back there. Come on. Nigerians should rise up and say, enough of this. Where are the youths?
With the emergence of Senator Aishatu Ahmed, popularly known as Binani, as the governorship candidate of the All Progressives Congress in Adamawa State, what does this portend for women in Nigeria?
It is a good development. Nigeria is a plural society. The plurality, even in gender. Now, you can see that the scene, the political scene, has for so long been dominated by the male gender. So the female gender is, gradually coming up. And it's going to help the polity. It's going to strengthen the belief of the female population in the system. It will inspire them the more. But culturally, when you look at the cultural dimension of it, our women in Nigeria have that role, that cultural role to play. They are the homemakers. Majority of the cultures expect the woman to be in the house, to build the house, to manage the house, to keep the home, not to go out there.
They gave us forms for free. Otherwise, some of us wouldn't have been able to afford the outrageous amount that the forms were being sold from other parties. So I see that there's hope for women in politics.
Weekend Deal today beams has set light on the fallout from the various primaries in Nigeria.
If you want to know more authentic, fresh, not ready-made, as-e-dey cook, you can trust us on Weekend Deal to unveil it for you. Well done. That was fantastic. Magdalene, it's your turn. Tell us what's happening with those who did not win. It is the political season in Nigeria. Players in this field have been making moves to push through against their opponents, whatever the odds may be. Unfortunately, in the just concluded House of Representatives and the Senate primaries respectively, for some aspirants, their hopes have been dashed.
The intrigues you see during these primaries that just finished, let's say the Senate and the House of Reps, between the ruling, let's say the ruling party and the main opposition, the PDP, you find out that most of the senators, most of the reps lost their tickets. Why? It's simple. The party is built around the power brokers, built around the governors, built around the leadership of those parties in their localities, meaning their states. So let's take, for example, in my state now, Edo State, if I have to explain to you the intrigues why the former APC chairman Adam Soshomole unseated the present senator Francis Alumike, it's simple. He's a former party chairman, he's a former governor of Edo State, he is the leader, let's say, unquote, the leader of the party APC in Edo State. So ordinarily, He will decide who will fly the ticket in his own locality, which happens to be a donut.
Though the 2022 electoral bill allows political parties to adopt different ways in electing their flag bearers, either directly or indirectly, or through consensus method, some aggrieved members from the two major political parties, the All Progressive Congress APC and the People's Democratic Party PDP, resigned their membership and defected to other political parties to pursue their aspirations.
Personally, I've run for the seat of reps 3 times. It's not that I wasn't the best candidate or I wasn't the competent enough, but because I didn't pay the money they wanted to collect, or because I was not the favorite of the party leaders. So that's the intrigues, you know. But I believe it's time we move away from this primordial way of selecting our candidates to fly party tickets.
At least 14 serving senators and 23 members of the House of Representatives may not be returning to the National Assembly. While some contested for governorship tickets, others lost in their bid to rivals. Just to mention but a few, in Niger State, Governor Abubakar Sani Bello defeated the incumbent Senator Aliyu Sabi with 335 votes. In Jigawa State, the 3 senators all lost their seats to rivals. Meanwhile, a 7th senator representing Imo East Senatorial District, Ezenwa Onyewuchi, was defeated at the just concluded senatorial primaries. You must have heard about the case in Lagos, where Nigerian celebrity Ola Bankole Wellington, you know him as Banky W. You know the outcome.
I believe we should begin to look at a system where everybody will decide, a system where money cannot be used to induce whoever we're going to bring as our candidates.
There is no doubt that the 2022 delegates primaries cannot be forgotten in a hurry due to its twists and turns, but only the electorate can determine those that will be at the National Assembly come 2023. That was great, Magdalene. You know, I always tell people, if I'm going into any competition, any contest, even in the race of life, while I do all it takes to win, I also wake up to the reality and the realism that only one winner will emerge at the end of the day, and it's up to us to rally around the person who emerges. It can be disappointing, but such is life. I'll be talking about the winners and the losers at this time with Honorable Aisha Duku, member of the House of Representatives and from the Duku Nafada constituency, Gombe Northeast, Gombe State, Nigeria. Good morning, ma.
Good morning.
Great to have you on Weekend Deal.
Thank you for having me.
Great. You're just telling me now how a bird cannot fly with one wing.
Yes.
Are you referring to a physical bird or a political bird?
I'm referring to both. Looking at the bird, you know, it flies with 2 wings. And so the Nigerian woman cannot be left behind. If democracy is to grow in Nigeria, if we are to reach the level we want to go to, I think it is a must that the Nigerian woman must be carried along in every aspect, whether appointive or political. The Nigerian woman has to be present at the table where decisions are taken.
To strike a very interesting balance.
Yeah.
Interesting. Are you going back to the lower house?
Yes, inshallah.
Nice,
I'm going
nice.
back.
So we can easily say congratulations here.
Thank
Some
you.
people did not make it, and we heard one of our guests earlier in one of the packages saying that, why will we send you back when you didn't make it? But is it only when they did not perform well that they did not win? Sometimes things have been arranged or zoned and there's role play. But tell us more about winning and losing at the lower and upper houses.
Thank you very much. Politics is a game. And of course, it's a game of number. And so you are out there for a contest. Who determines the electorates? For now, we've just come out of the primaries. So special groups of people. We have, of course, as the electoral law says, 3 ways. We have the consensus method, we have the direct and the indirect. And it depends on the political party. Whichever they choose, it's allowed by the law. And so most of the political parties went for the indirect. And the indirect primaries is a method of bringing out the candidates to fly the flags of the political parties. These, the political parties select special people called delegates. And these delegates now will select the flag bearers of the political parties at all levels, in all positions. And so this group of people now determine whether you come back or you do not come back. And
interesting.
Yes.
They have become very, let me use the word powerful. In the last 2 weeks, they became a very intimidating force, a force to be reckoned with. Let's talk about the delegates proper now.
yeah, okay.
Without naming them by names, we don't know them individually, but the word delegates, we're hearing it over and over in the last 14 days. Okay, say someone's talking about delegates. I would like to say that they are the beautiful bride, and they were welcomed in every party, in every home during this period. But there's talk about the performance of the delegates, about how clear-cut it was, that in some cases, some influences were brought to bear on the delegates. Do you think any kind of influence, like resource, like money, but I'm told it's called logistics support. Tell us more.
Thank you very much. Well, the makers of the law, that is the National Assembly, in our own wisdom, felt that democracy is rule of the people, by the people, for the people. And the best way is to allow the people to determine who represents them. And in the first instance, to select, as I said earlier, the flag bearers in all positions. So the law says the political parties have the right to determine who should even select the candidates. And in doing that, the word delegates now came up. So the delegates are those, elected by the political parties, to select the candidates, to be presented to the citizens of Nigeria, to be voted for come 2023 general elections. So they, by providence, became the determining factor of who should be in which position.
That is giving some people a lot of power. Exactly. Were women, did we have female delegates as well?
Yes, we had, and but not much.
Though we are hearing elected delegates. Some say the delegates selected their candidates, not elected. But tell us more about that.
No, the delegates are supposed to be elected. But as I said, the parties, the law gave the parties the right in order to build the political parties. Up till now, we have not been able to pass the amendment of independent candidature. So the only way is to strengthen the political parties to be able, to grow our nascent democracy. And that is why the political parties have been given the right to whatever way they want is for them to determine who should be the delegates.
Is that a risk?
Well,
that risk in any way?
It is not a risk, as I see it anyway. It is, to bring, everything to the people so that everything is done transparently.
In the open.
Yes. And then the best are brought, to determine, yes, who should be, in the House of Representatives, in the Senate, everywhere.
But tell us about the role of money. We were hearing humongous amounts, but we know it's a rumor. That's why we have someone like you to throw more light on what exactly happened. Why are we hearing Forex, Naira, humongous sums, bags, more bags, plenty bags of money? going into places, touching the lives of people. In fact, somebody told me that had he been selected a delegate, he would have been able to change the lineage of his, not just his family, but the entire community.
Well, thank you very much for this question. Actually, it is unfortunate in the first instance, because for every rumor there is an element of truth. And I believe maybe this question should have gone to one of the delegates. I'm not a delegate, but as you have said, a lot of stories, some by the actors themselves. The delegates have spoken, and some have even donated monies to orphanages because of what they've been able to get. So you see, it is the truth. It is not a rumor, so to say, even though you were not there, but
some got humongous sums.
Exactly. However, I want to say that some of the delegates, even after collecting the money, they didn't, do the biddings of the masters of the principal. So you can see
they still did what they wanted to do,
so that's
and what they found honorable.
Thank you very much. So I still feel that it is part of democracy. It's part of growing. With the democracy we look onto is the American democracy. How old is the American democracy?
Over hundreds of years.
And how old is the Nigerian democracy? And looking at the situation,
3 decades.
There's a lot of poverty in the land. So somebody confessed to me that he has never seen a dollar. To God, he said he has never seen a dollar. So it is coming to Abuja, because in some instances, even some of the amounts that were given to the agents, they didn't even give the delegates the amount that they were given. So it is like, a thief complaining about a thief.
Wow. We'll continue our conversation to go to an area where we're seeing a very interesting emergence. But let's take this feature, talking about women in politics, especially with the novel experience coming from Adamawa State.
Politics in Nigeria is mostly seen as a masculine activity dominated by male actors, but the narratives are changing as it is now taking a new dimension. Nigeria today is experiencing an increase in the number of women joining and participating in politics. Recently, a strong, courageous and vibrant woman in Adamawa State, northeast Nigeria, emerged as the governorship candidate of a strong political party.
I have confirmed beyond reasonable doubt that Senator Aisha Dahiru Ahmed Binani is declared the winner of Tuesday.
As women in this state, we have no reason whatsoever not to support her. When we're talking of breaking the bias, supporting women, standing up for women, this is the right time we should do that.
Aisha Ahmed Dahiru is an engineer by profession and currently a member of the 9th Senate. Binani, as she is popularly called, began her political career in 2011 as a legislator representing Yola North, Yola South and Gire Federal Constituency. She worked tirelessly to bring development to her constituency and Adamawa State through her intervention programs in education, healthcare, capacity building and rural development, which endeared her to her people.
Aisha Binani brought us mattresses and blankets. We thank her so much.
Of recent last month, the bus that we had an accident and it's being repaired. Just of a sudden, she gave us one. In fact, we appreciate God. We also thank her. Wish her the best.
Speaking further, Dr. Madi Abba and Dr. Adamu Babukwe talked more on the factors that could have led to the Senator Aisha Ahmed Binani emergence as a gubernatorial aspirant in Adamawa State.
Grassroots mobilization, I think, is the major factor that led to the emergence of Binani as a candidate of the APC.
In politics, there are calculations. Fortunately, Engineer Senator Binani is somebody who relies on information that people tell her. She works with competent people who put her through most of the things that she does. And for that, I think her team has done a wonderful job. They have made good calculations, and the calculations have actually paid off. So far, so good. She has done wonderfully well as a senator.
What we might think is impossible yesterday is happening in today's Nigerian politics. Women equal participation and leadership in politics is essential to nation building. Surely the efforts and struggles of the likes of Gambo Sawaba, Sarah Jibrin, and many others are not in vain.
Impressive in the sense that we have seen the emergence of women in the red chamber, we have seen the emergence of women in the green chamber, we have seen the emergence of women in House of Assemblies and things like that. And of recent, we have seen the emergence of involvement of women in directly attempting to become governors in the countries. And apparently in Adamawa State, we have seen the emergence of women as a flag bearer for the gubernatorial seat in the party.
It's not only to women, it's a lesson also to men. Yes, that the success of Benani tells you you don't come overnight and win seat or win politics. You have to have contact with people, the grassroots all the time, so that by the time you seek for their vote, you will get their vote overwhelmingly, even without the money.
Thank you, NTA Yola. You have thrown more light on one of the most vital and vibrant topics in Nigeria today, the emergence of Senator Aishatu Binani as the gubernatorial candidate on the platform of the APC. Honorable Aishatu, I'm smiling because in several of our conversations in the past, you have spoken extensively about the impact that women can make given a little opportunity and a little room. How do you see Hajia Binani's emergence as a candidate? How do you see impacting women's influence in the political space?
Well, I want to say first and foremost, congratulations to Senator Aisha, Binani, as we call her. It is one thing that it is the best thing that has happened to Adamawa State, the Northeast, Northern Nigeria, and Nigeria. It is the best thing that has happened, and I want to beat my chest for my own political party, the APC, to say kudos, for a free and fair election, primaries, and then for all the support, by the men, to make sure that, the best candidate emerged. Senator Aisha is a popular name in Adamawa State, and I want to say that for a woman to emerge, that not because I'm a woman, that a woman has to work 10 times much more than the man, to emerge.
She was able to surmount or rise above a former governor. A current House of Reps member, and a former EFCC chair.
Yes,
That's interesting.
Very interesting.
Do you think she counted on the humongous support of women too?
Of course, yes. Even the men count on the support of women. They can't do it. They can't win.
No, women for a long time have been supporting males.
Yes.
We've been integral. But I'm talking about this lady now.
Of course,
because people say anywhere you see woman votes.
Yes, but she also got tremendous support from the men.
Interesting.
Yes, she is a very, very popular candidate and a common, as I said, a household name in Adamawa State. And as you asked, it's going to change a lot positively because, number one, if she emerges, inshallah, she will, as the governor, she becomes a role model, not only for the present female politicians, but to younger generations coming up, that it can happen. It's something that, is encouraging.
How will this reflect on other northern women who have political aspiration? Because you know, times over, there have been factors that have not worked in their favor. Maybe culture in some cases.
Let me say, it is not a northern issue only. Nigeria is a patriarchal society, you know, and the world over, it's so. We just, last year, we celebrated 100 years of suffrage, where women were allowed to vote. 100 years only, just to participate in the voting. Yes. So, it is because of the patriarchal nature of the country. So, women anywhere in Nigeria, you know, face that, you know, challenge.
Face some challenges.
Yes.
Immense
huge
ones.
challenge. And so, for her, imagine, you know, it's a big success to us, the Nigerian women. And it's a big encouragement. And to say also that, you know, Nigeria is coming up.
Coming of age in our democracy.
Looking at the percentage, even the African regional percentage of 23%, you know, Africa is behind. Then in the African region, the West African sub-region, 15%. We are still, which Nigeria is part of, we are still far behind. Now, coming to Nigeria now, look at the National Assembly. In the Senate, we have 6.5% of women. In the House, we have 5.6%.
But is that going to change with this primaries that have just been concluded?
Yes.
What are our expectations?
Our expectations,
for more women?
More women will have emerged now. So, they are going into contest, you know, in all political parties. We hope that this time around, the percentage will change. Looking at what the political parties, in my own political parties, the forms were given free, you know, for women. And that is very, very encouraging. And also the new national chairman has encouraged anywhere a woman is, you know, and is performing for the governors and our governors to, you know, have also encouraged women. Like me in my state, Gombe State, I'm the only female candidate, you know, in the National Assembly.
Very interesting.
And my governor
is
fully
novel.
in support. Yes.
I'm very supportive of the women. You know, as we speak now, we know that many of the presidential candidates have emerged, in fact, all have emerged in different parties, including the ruling party. Is it likely, many women have been clamoring for a female vice, a female running mate. What do you think is the likelihood that one of these candidates will pick a woman as their running mate?
Well, looking at it the way it is, I said a bird does not fly with one wing, it flies with two wings. They are supposed to be looking at a female vice president. All the political parties, they are supposed to be looking at. It is happening. America is having a female, you know, vice president. And in Africa, we have even presidents. Yes. So morally, the political parties are supposed to be looking at female.
It's ideal.
Yes, it's ideal because, you know, we want the democracy to grow. And looking at the numbers of women in Nigeria, the population of women, you know, if it is counting on the population, we deserve to have that position as the vice presidential candidate.
Deserve it indeed.
We deserve it.
We have supported
and we are
the male
those that
for
queue
so many years.
up, you know, come rain, come sunshine, you know, to queue up, you know, and vote.
We have been voting them in.
Yes.
So it's time for them to lift us up.
Giving us a vice presidential, you know, position.
But are we ready for such a powerful position?
Why not? Why not? Those that are doing it, have they two heads? They have only one head. Yes.
Indeed. Let me just take a few comments. Somebody is reaching us from Kagin Lere in Kaduna State. Is Yahuza Musa. He says, for me in Nigeria, we practice democracy only by mouth. That is eye service. He said he cannot count on the independence of the delegates, the independence of their choices in the just concluded primaries. But that is your opinion. We have spoken with Honorable Aisha Duku, and she expressed the information that we're going to take as authentic. Sadiq Obada is reaching out from Buari area in Abuja. He says, Nigeria's democracy is not a nascent democracy. Even though we shouldn't compare with America because they are way ahead of us. We have been practicing democracy before the uninterrupted one we're experiencing now. It says he applauds the courageous steps we're taking by learning to do what is right, irrespective of the errors that are being made in our growth. It says that we also expect at least a level of commendable growth as we emerge into the next dispensation, talking about after the 2023 elections. What are your final comments, Honorable Duku?
Thank you very much. Our democracy is growing. It is not the democracy of 1999. It is not the democracy of today. I said before, what we see is people not even voting. People just carry ballot papers, and go into one house and vote. Now we have the card reader, we have the permanent voters card. Then we have a lot of innovation, technical, equipment. You are now holding a pad. You're sitting here. In 1999, were you holding?
No.
It's something with democracy. It is part of the, the society. The society is growing, democracy is growing, and we shouldn't lose hope.
And we're progressing.
We are progressing. We shouldn't lose hope. It is going to be better, inshallah, but it is not yet uhuru. But it will be.
It
definitely.
Will be, if we're persistent and relentless in our efforts.
Now, you don't have ballot box snatching, and then the new electoral law has, about 9 sections of the law is against violence, Now the youth have been empowered by the not too young to run law that has been assented to take part. If you say our democracy is not growing, I think you have not been following the process in Nigeria.
The process of things in Nigeria, indeed. Yes. We're not where we want to be, but we're on the path of progress.
And we shall be there.
We shall be there when we all work together.
Yes.
Thank you very much. It's been a pleasure chatting with you, Honorable Aisha Duku, the chairman of INEC Matters at the House of Representatives, and from the Duku Nafada constituency, Gombe Northeast. It's been a pleasure. Chatting with you is often very enlightening. You're watching Weekend Deal. We'll take a break. Don't you go away. We'd like you to continue to communicate with us. We'll be right back. It is about Nigeria, involving the people of Nigeria, collaborating and working together progressively. That's our thrust today, talking about the delegates' primaries. How, where, when, who, and the fallout. Now, some describe the National Assembly as a retirement location for some past leaders who have been at the helm in various states of Nigeria. How true is that? Let's find out together.
Closure of this convention.
One gets considered on what he is bringing to the ticket. Is he going to add value? Because the sum of it all is about winning election. If, for instance, the governor is coming from the private sector, in some cases they look for someone with a public sector background to balance so as to get the machinery of government, if elected, smoothly running. Nigerians generally have this opinion of, particularly former governors who are in the National Assembly, particularly in the Senate, that they're just there for retirement. No, it's not like that. Because the governors or the former governors have faces. If you follow their activities in the Senate or in the executive arm of government at the federal level, you will see that they're making a difference. Babatunde Raji Fashola, lawyer, chief of staff, governor of Lagos State for 8 years. He's been Minister of Works, Housing, and at a point in time, Power too, for 7 years. In the National Assembly, Gabriel Suswan is another senator who has been governor before. is chairman of a Senate Committee on Power. And I agree with you to some extent that there are some that are sleeping on the job and are actually in retirement in service. It all depends on what you originally set out to do in politics. Some just set out to grab power, maybe for ego or to oppress people around them. You should be thinking about transiting from this position to retirement, in the sense that you sit back home. Of course, you will have mentored many people. Maybe they come to you to seek for advices on how do we do this. It's not even possible to be engaged in this business for like forever. No, it wears you down, it wears you out. If you want to have a very successful political career, you have your other job, then you take politics as a vocation. You'll be surprised to find out that the youth engage in more out of service stuff, to use their kind of language, more than the energy they should have devoted participation in politics. They have the numbers. You don't like a government, whether at the local government, state or federal level. You mobilize yourself. Go to your community, get involved and start up there. You get your people into the system. Then you can effect a change.
Interesting. You know, even as we build our democracy, our national democracy, and we say all hands must be on deck, there comes a time when you will say, I've done my bit, thank you. Those young ones I've raised, it's time for them to step in. Perhaps if we all work together, we're working progressively for our great nation, and it will be in our best healthy interest. We had a chat with a presidential aspirant on the platform of the APC, Mr. Nicholas. And if you recall, he stepped down for the vice president, Yemi Osibajo, during the just concluded APC primaries. Let's see more with this chat.
Dr. Nicholas, it's a pleasure to have you here with us. But let's just start. Of course, you are witness to the delegates primary that, happen across the federation, and based on the experience from different political parties, what would you say? Are we moving forward? Are we getting it right? Of course, a lot of people criticize the process. What are your thoughts?
I think we have a lot of work to do. 62 years as a nation, the democratic process is getting better, no doubt about it. But I would love to see more of a cleaner process democratically, especially in the primary election. It has become too monetized. And for democracy, if we must get the right people, talking about generally now, not just particularly a single party, we have to be able to reduce the money back. So I don't know if this has to do with INEC making some policies, changes, or the National Assembly. But I think it's getting better, but we want to see more. We are still called developing country, so which means we have a lot to do. Anytime we finish an election like this, it would be nice for us to criticize, for us to look at it, what was done well, and what we need to improve on. And I think that will help our democracy.
Well, you say we should clean the process. Is it just about the monetization of the electoral process, or are there other things that we really need to look at when you talk about, cleaning?
Yeah, I think it's a monetization. We do understand politics is money, no doubt about it. All over the world, politics is money. But we need a process whereby the electorate will see the people, the candidates, the aspirants for who they are, and be able to elect and not becoming a money issue. For example, we heard during the campaign, delegates are congratulated. When you become a delegate, they'll tell you congratulations.
But that is what it means,
Yeah,
because they know what comes with it.
That's the point. For me, when I hear that, I'm like, wow. In other words, you just hit a jackpot. It shouldn't be. So generally, I think the National Assembly the INEC, we need to keep working on this. We cannot let it go worse. It has to get better. We have to improve, whereby becoming a delegate is a service. You're going to represent the entire nation who will bring out their candidates, whereby everybody will come together and vote whoever the president or the governor may be. So I think we cannot be satisfied and say this is good, it's perfect, let's move on. No, we can't do that. We have to keep improving.
Does that mean you knew that you will go nowhere in your, aspiration vying for the number one seat of the country?
I don't know who we venture into such a task knew he will go nowhere. But for me, it has always been taking one step. From one step, you take two steps. And I had this conviction that I will be able to speak to people, especially Nigerians are yearning for a youth. So I had this conviction that there are people who are still going to hear what we have to say. And truly, they heard. But when I saw the broader picture, I said, okay, we have taken more step ahead. Let's keep pushing. Let's keep pressing forward. That's what this is all about. Let's keep doing what we have to do and see when the change will hit. If we don't try it, we will never know when the change will begin or when the change will actually burst out. So for us, we have to keep doing this. Not because we are trying, we're hoping that this time around we'll get it. This time around, the people will look beyond money. That's why I said the National Assembly need to do a lot.
In 2019, you also, vie for the same position under a different political platform, PCP, if I get it right. And then during that 2019 general election, you actually came third. And a lot of people felt that, you've actually gotten something that you can build on. And suddenly, we saw you stepping down for the vice president. What happened?
The truth of the matter is smaller parties differ from bigger parties. And joining the APC, there were so many things I got to experience that never played out with the smaller parties. A lot of the structure, a lot of things totally changed. For example, with the smaller parties, we didn't have so much delegate to deal with. There are so many things we didn't have to deal with. Now, with these bigger parties, the structure, the experience, and after a while, we were so limited in resources. That's one of the challenges we as youth have had. As a result, we couldn't do more. We couldn't go as far as we intend to. And at that moment, I had to say to myself, I watched the PDP primaries. I saw what played out. I saw people making serious sacrifice. And it dawned on me that as a good sportsmanship, you have to do some things. And when also the northern governors, I respect them for that action. When I heard they were able to contend that power should go to the south, that's a selfless sacrifice. Some of them, of course, will want power to go to the north. And for them to have moved that far, every other thing was easy for me now to do. Said, if these guys can be paying the sacrifice, somebody step down for another. I think in my own little way, if I'm seeing the picture, I have to be truthful to myself. We've started, we're in the race, but it's as if, just like a relay, 10 of you start running, you went in because you think you're going to beat. But after a while, if you see others are catching up, you got to be truthful to yourself and say, you know what, at this time, let's go. Even those who didn't step down, at the end of the day, they didn't get much votes. So it's almost the same thing, because at the end of the day, we have to rally around our candidates. those who stepped down, those who did not step down. We had to rally our candidates and make sure as a party we get victory. So
a lot of people have said that while sometimes it's like we seem to take a step forward in our democratic journey, but a lot of times after taking that step forward, we take several backward. What are your thoughts? Are we really progressing as a democratic nation?
We are progressing, but very slow. A vehicle could be moving at 2 kilometers per hour, while another is moving at 50 kilometers per hour. What I would say to the average Nigerian out there, we need to get in politics, especially to the youth. Forgive me let me keep referring to my constituents. The youth must get into politics. One of my assignments now within the next 1 or 2 years is to recruit 1,000 youths to get into various offices at every level, not just to join my party, join the bigger, anywhere you want to get to. We need to get involved. A lot of people have so much ideas, but they are not on the table. My agenda now, one of the reasons I said stepping down was okay, is get on the table. Have something to say. Like I'm sitting with you now, I'm talking. Have something to say. Bring the ideas. Out there on social media is not going to solve the problem. So we need more ideas. The same old people, the same new old faces have been the one running the same show. That's why we're not getting anywhere. And I also now discover you can't flush all of them out at the same time. That's not going to happen. I don't see that miracle happening anytime soon. So we need to flood the system. We need to start having. I'll be so glad to have at least to see 2 to 3 youth in the cabinet, and that's going to be one of my agenda. But I'm not saying it must be me, but I'll be so fulfilled that this new administration, and anytime I get to meet with a flag bearer, that's what I'm going to say to him. You have to promise that you're going to have youth in the cabinet. If he gives me that promise, we'll be ready to fight. I'll go out there and let the youth know. We have been promised this. Wow. Imagine you have 3 youth in the cabinet. Now you're going to be. Now you can say the youth are being represented. So, but if we are nowhere to be found, nobody's going to call you from the street and beg you to come. You have to be there.
Thank you very much, Dr. Felix, for sharing your time with us. Right. It's been a pleasure.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Very enlightening discourse with Dr. Felix there, telling Nigerians that the youths need to have a place on the table. And we heard from Honorable Aisha that the women too need to have a place on the table because a bird cannot fly with one wing. We're seeing progressive changes, and I'm sure it will impact on Nigerians progressively. When we were chatting, when we were putting this package together, Susan had talked about what she had been seeing, the ongoing side attractions at the Eagle Square. She took a step forward, not just to share the information with us, she wants to share the information with you all.
In the race of life, we sometimes lose. The thing is, never be afraid of loss. It is no longer news that Abuja, Nigeria's capital city, was a host to a very big political event which attracted thousands of delegates who converged for the 2022 National Convention of All Progressive Congress. After weeks of postponements by the party, the delegates were set to select the right candidate who would be the flag bearer of the party for the year 2023 presidential election.
They have already shipped the presidential aspirant to southern part of the country. So we hope now what we are hearing that we have only 3 contestants now on ground. Bola Ahmed Tinubu, Rotimi Amechi and Osibanjo, vice president. So we are thinking that from there they will find who is going to emerge as a winner of the primary election.
Actually, I'm a strictly party man. And actually, whomever emerges, I'll work with him. Yes, because from the look of things, they are all qualified. So whomever come out, we'll work with him and we'll make sure that we deliver him, God willing.
The APC party members are quite agog, they are quite happy and quite interested about this national convention. And I believe the right person will be selected today, or the right person will be elected by the elected delegates today.
Major roads leading to the Eagle Square, venue of the special convention, were adorned with posters, billboards and flyers of candidates vying for the position of Nigeria's president in the next year's election. A lot of traders can be seen making rapid business around the venue. Busy food vendors attending to customers and sellers of various party merchandise are at strategic locations around the venue. The street leading to the federal secretariat was fully packed with vehicles on both sides of the road in anticipation for the eventual winner. These are used in conveying either the delegate party members, vendor service providers, and others.
Today is a day of victory. And I want everybody to know that this mandate is a divine mandate. It has taken place before it happened now. Because it is written that whatever happens in the physical has taken place in the spiritual. Heaven has mandated this man to be there. And this is why he's there today.
I like the way and manner he welcomed most of the contestants to come and join him to lead the team to the victory comes 2023.
Asaju has come to change the narrative. He is going to continue the good work that General Muhammadu Buhari, the president of Nigeria, has started.
Merchants and street hawkers took advantage of the event to display their goods. As politicians do their things, they too do theirs. For all, it is a memorable event.
Being a Nigerian is quite a vitalizing and vibrant experience, and that is the privilege that all of us in this country, over 200 million people, have. We do know that the politicians, our leaders at all levels, have a responsibility. But do you often remember that you too as a citizen have an enormous responsibility to support and to be responsible with any government, with any administration, responsible with your actions, with what you say on and off social media, and more importantly, how you treat others and how you relate experiences. Nigeria is moving forward on the path of progress. Each of us has a responsibility to support the government as it leads us there. And you do that in several ways, by supporting emerging candidates as well as arming yourself with your PVC to vote in candidates who can take us to Nigeria's next level. God indeed bless Nigeria and all of us. It will be a pleasure to have your company on Weekend Deal again tomorrow morning when we'll continue our talk about the fallout of the delegates' primaries. From all of us here, it's bye-bye. Democracy Day. More talk tomorrow. Bye-bye.